One more thing I like to do before I start is this. Everybody close their eyes. Not me, I have to put my glasses on. Ready? This is very, very, very serious. Close your eyes. Ready? God, grant me the senility to forget the people I never liked anyway. The good fortune to run into the ones I do, and the eyesight to tell the difference. The reason I tell jokes before my seminars is because it has been scientifically proven that laughing is good for you. And it reduces pain, and there's an endorphin response to it, and studies have shown that it helps people with Alzheimer's disease. So I will be telling a lot of jokes. They'll be a lot funnier than that, so brace yourself. Okay, so now we know who I am. Let's talk about why you're here. I told you a little bit about why I'm here. These are some of the responses I got from people when they signed up for the seminar. I have a mother that is 94 years old, and it's hard to deal with her. I'm grooming, this is a new one, I'm grooming my daughter to do different things so she will understand what to do. We are older and may be looking for caregivers in the home or a place to move. At my age, I have a big worry. How am I going to take care of myself? 2 years ago, I stopped working to take care of my parents. It's quite a load of work. I want to know what to do. So the fundamental premise, I believe, is that everybody would like to age in place, right? Most people want to stay in their home and be surrounded by the things that make them feel comfortable and secure and warm, and where they see pictures of their family and their life. Most people want to do that. But it's not something we can just say we want to do. One thing that I've recognized in my practice as an elder care consultant or a geriatric care manager is that when I meet with people, they speak in theory instead of living in reality. And so one of those theories is that I'll shoot myself before I go into a nursing home. That's a theory. We certainly don't have to go to a nursing home, but we have to have a plan. Another thing, the government will take care of me. That's another theory that people live in. That's not going to help you accomplish living independently by thinking that way. Another theory, my kids will take care of me. Okay, that's not always what I see out in the field. One, there are some lovely adult children who are doing the best they can. Sometimes it misses the mark because we don't have the skill set. And then there's some adult children who are taking advantage of their parents. And those parents bringing those children up would have never thought that would happen to them. So again, that's just a theory. So in order to be able to live independently, we have to solve some puzzles. It's like a big puzzle. I'm going to help you put the pieces together today. All right. Another reason why some people are here is because they're part of the sandwich generation. Now, how many of you have heard that term bantered about? A lot of people. It's a very in vogue type of thing to say. I'm part of the sandwich generation. 70% of this generation is taking care of both their parents and their children. Now get this, there's a new term that's coming into existence. It's the club sandwich generation. And think about this. We have people who are living well into their 90s, which means that their adult children are senior citizens themselves. And so the senior citizens have adult children who might be my age. I'll be 50 in a few months. And I would be taking care of my 78-year-old mother. And my 78-year-old mother would want to take care of her 98-year-old mother. And so this is what's happening. So a lot of people are here not just for themselves and to figure out this puzzle for themselves, but they're also here to figure out the puzzle for helping their parents or helping their grandparents. Am I right? Got a good mix of people here like that? Okay, so here are the two overarching questions all of the time. First question, Will I be able to financially handle this? Will I be able to financially handle this? It's got to be a question we ask. It has to be. Because God bless you. God bless you too. And everything else. We have to ask this question. Because if we don't, we're not going to plan. And if we don't plan, remember this is all about being able to age independently and with dignity. One of the things you have to know is whether you can afford to do that. And if you don't think you can sitting here right now, you have to develop a strategic plan. Because in today's dollars, the cost of care can be anywhere from $45,000 a year to $80,000 a year. And I am not a mathematical genius, but I do know of a concept called inflation. And so just in today's dollars, you're looking at $45,000 to $80,000 a year. So this is a big question, and we're going to be addressing this, and please take that very seriously, okay? And then this one right here. If you're in the sandwich generation, you really have to ask this question. Am I emotionally prepared to handle this? It's not just about helping your parent. It's about family dynamics. And if you've got siblings, you all have to kind of be on the same page. Or if somebody's not on the same page, then that person's just not on the same page. It's whether or not the children are on the page of the parent they're trying to help. It has nothing to do with their agendas. So often, I see adult children fighting and losing their relationships, including my sister and I, who just rectified that this year, and I couldn't be happier. Me, can you imagine? An elder care expert. My sister and I, over my mother's care, had such a strong disagreement that it tore us apart, but we're strong enough and loving enough people to have reconciled very easily. So this is a big concern. You really have to make sure that if your children are going to get involved in your care, that you tell them when you have the capacity to do so. There's no need to fight. It's not about what you think is right for me, and it's not about what you think is right for me. This is what I want. And if anybody doesn't do what I ask them to do, if I lose capacity, I don't want that person involved in my decisions. And we'll talk later about how you can do that legally. Okay. In order to know whether or not you can stay in your home, that's what we're talking about right now. In order to know whether you can stay in your home, you have to understand these two terms. And this first one, ADL, stands for Activity of Daily Living. Has anybody heard of that before? Okay, only a few of you. Now when you leave here, you're all going to know this. The reason it's so important to know what this term is, it's critical for each and every one of you to know this term, is because the type of services that will be delivered to you or someone you're caring for is dependent on how many problems you're having with activities of daily living, such as, here they go, ready? Bathing, eating, ambulating, dressing, toileting. I'm missing two. You get the idea. It's how we manage every day. It's those things that enable us to negotiate our environment successfully. So, how many of you today woke up and sat at the end of your bed and you got up and you stretched and you said to yourself, oh, what a great day. I wonder how I'm going to get to the bathroom. Yeah. And then you get to the bathroom and you try to sit down on the toilet, but it's really low, and you've got balance issues or mobility issues, and then you have to get up, and okay, you manage that, and then you look in your closet and you're like, oh, I have to get dressed. You have range of motion problems. How am I going to get this shirt over my body? And then when I get down to the kitchen, how am I going to feed myself because it's too hard for me to do that? If you have any of those issues, and believe me, people live like this every day. Some people you know are living like this, and they're ashamed to tell you, or they're afraid to tell you that, because they think that you're going to throw them into a nursing home. But a lot of people have these problems. Is it an insurmountable problem? No. Is it an absolute impediment to being able to age in place with dignity and independence? No. You just have to recognize if you've got any of those problems. Problems usually have solutions, okay? And we'll talk about those solutions today. But in order to live safely at home, somebody has to figure out whether or not you or your loved one has a problem with any of these activities of daily living. It has to be identified. And then an IADL, an instrumental activity of daily living. Remember, the type of services that will be delivered and how much they cost are dependent on these two things. So an instrumental activity of daily living is something like whether or not you can balance your checkbook. Can you pay your bills? Can you order telephone services? Those types of issues. They're more administrative tasks. Some things that we might associate with occupational therapy. Okay? That's the very first step of being able to age in place. Identifying what, if any, issues exist. Moving on. Okay. Biggest problem to be able to age safely in your home is a fall risk. How many of you in this room have fallen or know somebody who's fallen in their home? Okay. Thank you so much for that candor. We had a majority of the people in the room raise their hand. And it's, as you can see, very, very bad to fall. Because 40% of older adults who fall will go into a nursing home and not come out. And that sounds really scary, doesn't it? And I used to be the general counsel for a nursing home. And I know that this to be a true statistic. So if you're a fall risk, then you really have to make sure that your home is secure for not falling. So why do we fall? Well, polypharmacy. This is a big one. Polypharmacy. What that means is that you're taking medications, you're taking too many medications, and they're interacting with each other in a negative way. And this is a problem. This really is a problem. So I would recommend that if somebody's having balance issues, have a pharmacist look at the medications that that person is on or that you're on to make sure that there's no negative interactions that could be causing dizziness or fainting or balance issues. Another reason why older adults fall is that 75% of older adults just have balance problems, whether that has to do with visual perception or neuropathy. We tend to have more falls as we age, and they tend to be more serious. It's a huge issue. So fall prevention is one of the primary things you should have on your checklist. Of course, Tai Chi classes are always, always recommended to help secure your balance. And they offer those at local YMCAs for a minimal cost, if not free, if you're part of the senior center. So it might sound like this strange thing for people from a foreign land, but Tai Chi has really repeatedly been proven to help people with balance issues because it strengthens your core muscles.